Welcome to the Play Ed 3 podcast, where you're the reoccurring guest, whether you're in the classroom or shaping education behind the scenes. I'm Tisha Poncio.
And I'm Rick Butterworth. Together, we bring stories, insights, and conversations that matter to educators, learners, and change makers. Our goal is to bring everyone together to learn, grow, and play.
Hi, Rick.
Hey, Tish.
Hi, I noticed you're wearing, interestingly enough, I noticed that we actually are matching, and I think people would think that we are making this up. This is not, we did not plan ahead of time to be wearing what we're wearing. So if you're watching the video, you notice that we are matching in a sense with our red, white, and blue color scheme. But Rick is wearing a Whataburger t-shirt with a Texas flag on it. It's the Whataburger logo in the middle of the blue part of the Texas flag.
What would be the star, right?
Yes, what would be the star. And then I'm wearing this really cool find from the Goodwill over in Deep Ellum in Dallas. Do you want to explain to them what I'm wearing, Rick?
Well, you're wearing my favorite ice hockey team outside of the UK.
You know who else loves this team, though? Shout out to Alex Isaacs. Yeah,
New York Rangers, #1 best ice hockey team. We're going to probably get some hatred or comments on this one.
I think we should get some. We should get. I mean, go ahead.
Well,
I always tell you, debate Rick if you want.
Ice hockey is we're all here together and everything. So in the comments, let me know which is your favorite ice hockey team. You know what? What's your favorite sports team in general? Because we're all inclusive of this. But I am going to say that New York Rangers are #1 and any other team is not good enough.
I love the Stars. You know this, Rick. I love the Stars.
Yes.
But I found this, it was years ago, actually. I was in Deep Ellum. And there was a thrift store, and I love thrift stores. If you know me, you know that when I travel, I'm not buying the typical magnet souvenir. Don't get that for me, please. If you're coming from the UK, bring me chocolate or some Tesco tea. I like that.
Which you will be getting.
I've already gotten it. at this point. So that's
You have,
good.
but at the same time, I'm going to make the point that we have recorded this early and you will be getting it in a couple of days' time.
Yes. So, but when I go to different parts of the world and different places, I like to buy jewelry or go to a secondhand shop and find something that is very unique to that particular place. But I was in Deep Ellum in Dallas, and I went into the thrift store down there. And I wasn't looking for anything. That's always the best thing. You're not actually looking for anything, and then you find some really, really cool treasures. And I just happened to find this, and I like it because it's oversized. So, and it has this very retro, like 80s look. You know?
It's an old retro-y styled
love that
Jet Rangers jumper, which is cool because I'm the same. I like that retro style about things compared to modern day.
That's why we have the Play It 3 podcast.
Yeah,
we created
exactly.
all of the retro, the music and the logo and everything with that idea in mind. But so Rick and I showed up to record this episode, and we realized that we are matching unintentionally, and we did not plan it.
I even changed my lighting because I didn't want it to match what the previous weeks were, which we also ended up matching and had no plan on because Tish wore a green jumper, and I thought, you know what? I've not used green yet. I'll use green for this one, and then lo and behold, she had green on.
It's like we have an E.T. Elliott connection or something.
Yeah,
we talked about E.T. in our other episode. That was my first movie, but I didn't know it then. Really, at such a young age, but it is like they were connected in their brains. I think sometimes we're connected.
We don't even need to have a briefing meeting. We just know what the meeting we know what to brief and get going.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
it's good. It works well. I think it is unique to have someone who can do that with you. That isn't always the case, it's very unique to do a podcast or a project or a book or even just something at work where you feel really aligned with the person that you're working with, or they can sort of read your mind or predict what you're going to say or do. So, well, I have a lot for us today, Rick. Do you have anything you want to ask me, though?
How are you? I always start our
You always
conversations with
start
"How are
that
you?"
with how.
So
I feel like it is a
I just
loaded
wanted.
question.
It is, especially when we've got so much stuff going on. It is a lot to kind of. Do we have enough time to actually go through absolutely everything? And probably not.
I think we do. I'm just gonna this is gonna be just a smorgasbord, smorgasbord, a charcuterie board. It's a charcuterie board. That's what this
What's
is
a
today.
charcuterie?
Can you say that again? Charcuterie.
Charcuterie. I'm trying to say it, but I'm saying it with an accent at the same time. Charcuterie board.
You're trying to say it like me.
I know.
A charcuterie board is essentially this, like, when I do it, I put it on a cutting board, and it is like a mix of things. So it could be nuts and dried fruits and fresh fruits and like pepperoni and meats and cheeses and like honey and hot honey and I don't know, all kinds of things. So it's like, and then it's your meal. So it's like you eat.
So it's a load of nibbles.
Well, you call them nibbles, I call it a meal.
Yeah, but you're making a meal out of a load of nibbles.
Sure. That's me every day. I just don't officially put it on a cutting board.
Fair enough.
Unless I'm cooking salmon, which if Alex Isaacs ever listens to this episode, anytime I send him a message, it's always when I'm cooking salmon for my lunch. When I was working with Wakelet, I would be making lunch and I would be sending him messages via audio, and he'd be like, "What's happening in the background?" I was like, "Oh, it's just me cooking my salmon like I do every day." I think I was probably having too much salmon. I'm sure that's possible. Please don't write in and tell me the dangers of too much salmon, because I feel like A, I already know, and B, I don't want to panic over the amount of salmon I was eating. But I do really love salmon, and I could eat seafood every day.
Every single time I was speaking to you, I was like, "So what are you having for lunch?" And you were going, "Salmon."
I love salmon. You know, Rick, that is actually, well...
And see, there you go. Was that Alexa or Siri?
It was Alexa.
Has literally, if people did not hear that, Alexa did you say Alexa or Siri?
Alexa.
Alexa literally just announced, "Reminder, eat," which means you're going to go make salmon. I mean, this is just perfect timing.
I'm not going to make salmon, but I do want to say this. I don't think you know this. I love to eat. I could eat seafood every single day. Like if you said, "Tisha, you can only have seafood for the rest of your life in any form," I'd be like, "All right, cool," because I love salmon. And the other day I made snow crab legs. Have you ever had snow crab legs?
I have not had snow crab legs. I've had crab legs.
Well,
what's snow crab legs?
What version of crab did the legs come from?
Well, the label just said crab, so...
That's very sketchy, and I would not trust that.
It was hold on. It was in a Chinese buffet in Florida.
Oh, dear. Oh, this just got way... Okay. No. So we'll have to make sure Rick has some appropriate snow crab legs to eat. So I made some the other day, and like... put my seasoning on and then had my little, but it was so good. It's so good. I love, I made shrimp last night as well with pasta. I do eat seafood pretty regularly and didn't know this, but I think that I might be on the seafood diet. Not that it's a diet. It's just easy for me to cook. Seafood's very easy for me to cook. And if it's it's like an easy entry point, Rick. It's like sales. You know what I mean? Like easy entry points to make sales. For me, it's easy entry points to eat a meal. So sometimes I eat a cucumber.
I thought you were literally saying that sales is easy.
No.
It's an easy entry point.
Easy,
sales is an easy.
Just like food and eating isn't easy for me to remember. Hence my Alexa reminder. So, do you like seafood?
I don't mind seafood. I'm not one to just go
that's
for.
The polite way for a Brit to say no.
Don't you dare say no. It's. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no because I have eaten sushi. I've eaten sushi. It would not be my number one choice.
What would be your number one choice?
Probably Chinese, or pizza. I know I said crab legs from Chinese, but I usually get sweet and sour chicken from Chinese. Nice egg fried rice.
What have you
I enjoy it.
Is there anything that you've not had to eat that you'd be willing to eat? Like something that, I don't know, have you had eel before?
Yes, I have a eel.
Okay. Um, okay, well,
Prawns.
I'm not going to talk
Um,
about any more of this because I could go into the Mexican cuisine. I'm not going to do that, but
well, we've had some Mexican food when I was in Austin.
right, but I was going to go into some of the things that you probably wouldn't want to eat, but that are really good. But when I tell you what they're made of, you'd be like, no, thanks. I'm not
Well,
going
you
to
could.
eat
How
it.
about we talk about it outside of this podcast?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. We can. Okay, let's move on. I have some of the top 3 education stories making headlines this week. Are you ready to hear them?
Yeah, let's hear them.
Okay, so this is interesting. And I have not read this. It comes from Ed Week and the Washington Post. At least 11 U.S. states, mainly Republican-led, are introducing or passing laws to undermine or eliminate tenure at public colleges and universities. Do you know what tenure is?
Yeah, isn't that where
Okay.
they can't be fired? Or
The changes include more frequent performance views, student evaluations affecting job security. That's interesting. Student evaluations is something that we talk about in our book.
Hmm.
And I did that from a first year teacher on like having my students. I didn't realize how not a lot of people do that. I was having my students like evaluate me. It was something that I learned in my teacher college, actually,
Hmm.
to have students give feedback on your teaching so that you can improve it. But this article also talks about easier paths to dismiss tenured professors. Proponents argue it ensures accountability, and critics warn it threatens academic freedom. Well, just one more thing for us to all disagree on.
with this is a thing. Yeah. I'd be very interested to know what your opinion on tenured positions are, because I
Well,
do have an opinion on it,
do
and I
you? Why
do
don't you just
agree
say it?
that. Well, okay. So I agree that having job security is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you are in a position where you have the ability to expand and improve on something, and you have that job security, is there a possibility, and I'm only assuming because I'm not working on any data here,
We
is
should
there a
never
possibility
assume.
where, yeah, but you've just told me this, and I've not done any research, so this
Okay,
is
okay,
just, I'd be
okay.
curious to know how many professors or anyone that is in a profession that has tenure,
Mm-hmm.
is there a increase in lack of innovation?
Well,
So does innovation decrease when someone gets tenure because they've got the comfort knowing they're not going to lose their job?
I mean, I do think there's just some security in that. I think that is always, but if you think about it, I mean, as a veteran teacher, I think it was, it is easy to get in that. You've been a teacher for so long. I mean, I've
Mm-hmm.
talked a lot about, it is difficult to fire teachers. It's not like how it works in the real world. It's also why a lot of teachers, when they want to make the jump from, education into a different sector of work or career, it's difficult for them because they, the process to becoming a teacher is pretty uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And to go into something different means you have to completely look at it differently. And so I think for teachers and for I think there is a level of comfort. But I think that's with anything. I don't think it's just
Yeah,
unique to
if
this,
if you're
right?
yeah, if you're getting tenure, if I got tenure at a tech company,
Mm-hmm.
then that's fantastic. I've got job security for life.
Sure.
But my challenge to it is, yes, you
I
might
agree.
have someone that's got tenure. Great.
Mm-hmm.
They have
Mm-hmm.
earned it. However, when does that person come to a point where that the company or the
Mm-hmm.
school or the university or whatever start to not receive the return
Yeah.
on that individual because they have basically begin to slack
Well, I
because they've
think
got that security? Because
no, I agree
in
with you.
my understanding, my assumptions, it is all assumptions, is that when you have that security, you aren't going to challenge yourself. You're not going to progress yourself to the same levels because it's like, why do I need to bother? I've done the hard work. I can now put my feet up, in a sense. I'm not saying they are, but that can
Well,
be a possibility.
I think
And then
that
it
is
stops somebody that is
no okay.
accelerating to actually enter because there is a position that is currently being taken by a tenure.
Okay, well, I mean, we could apply that same idea to students. Like we could
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely, once a student learns how to play the game in a
Yeah,
school,
yeah, yeah.
essentially they're not being challenged to innovate or critically think. This is something that I have forever said we need to continue to push our students toward critical thinking. How do we do that? I think this sounds like it's going to be all or nothing. I don't think anything should be all or nothing. I talk about balance. We talked about popcorn the other day,
Yeah.
salty, sweet,
Yep, sweet all the
buttered,
way.
right? But I think it's the same thing. I think, okay, if we're eliminating tenure, okay, I don't know. Can we not eliminate it completely? Can there be some prerequisites for continuing it? Can there be this level of like renewed tenure? I don't know.
I mean, it's not tenure as a such. It'd be, I would go on the basis of, okay, like contracts essentially. You've
Mm-hmm.
hit a certain level,
Sure.
you will receive tenure, but it is
It's like
you're getting a
accountability.
10-year contract with
I
us that gives you a 10-year security.
But I do like the student evaluations part. I think that's so important. I've said that multiple times, and I know it's very difficult. It's a very difficult for people, anybody. It's very difficult to get to ask for evaluations and reviews from people who you are with every single day. We talk about the difficulty in feedback and reflection. It is so difficult. And the majority, I would say, of the tenured professors, probably like you and I, weren't taught how to do, like, when were we taught that in school? When were we really taught? I've talked about this with you as we're preparing presentations and things, there is a level in a classroom of, okay, here's this assignment, do the assignment. Okay, I've done the assignment. I've turned it in. You're giving me a grade. End of story. End of story. We all did our jobs, but did we? Because that wasn't giving me confidence. It was very transactional. And so
Yeah.
I think when your job, whatever your job is, whatever industry you're in, whatever you are doing, even if you're a student, if things are transactional, they cannot be transformational. I don't believe that you can be in a transactional mode day in and day out. Something has to switch for you to become transformational.
Yes.
So again, you and I love debating these things. I always welcome people who are listening to episodes with Rick and I chatting, like, come be a guest. Let's talk about, do you believe that transactional relationships, transactional jobs, like everything being transactional, does that allow for transformation? Because in my opinion, it doesn't. And I'm basing everything on my experience. There were times when I was very transactional in my classroom. Did I do my job? Yes. Did the student get a grade? Yes. But then what?
Yeah.
We just went about our business and we were like, okay, we're all growing. But were
Exactly.
we?
No,
No.
when we weren't. We were continuously, and if we're learning that in school, we're not going to end up progressing that into our work environment.
Well, because what we do over and over and over is what we become. Who we do that with over and over and over is who we become. I used to tell my students and everybody around me, the top 5 people that you hang around with, talk to, interact with the most is who you're going to become. So it's very interesting. Like, students do not get a choice necessarily in the classes that they're in. So teachers have a tough job because, you may have a class where, wow, that class, all the classes have a specific personality because they're all made up of so many different students. If I'm a great student in a class with a bunch of rule breakers, am I going to become a rule breaker? Not necessarily. Is it going to disrupt my learning? Probably. Am I going to learn something? Yeah, I'm going to learn something in all those situations. But, you go to a job or you create a business or whatever, you become who you are around. So it's so important to intentionally make those decisions. I don't know. That was the first story, Rick. I have another one for you though.
Yeah, go
The
for it.
second one is really intriguing, and I didn't know this. AI Literacy Week kicks off in Africa. Africa AI Literacy Week launched June the 21st. Is that today? That was yesterday.
That was yesterday from when we're recording
But you're
this.
listening, so it's already happened. It's already happened when you get this episode. But they have AI Literacy Week, the 21st through the 28th. They're focusing on integrating AI into classrooms across Kenya and other countries with teacher training, student workshops, local language AI resources, all aimed at building foundational AI skills and awareness. I think this is fabulous. I do think that
I
student
completely
workshops,
agree with you.
I want to be in on that. If you were listening and you're doing student workshops, like, oh, please, I wish that is one of the things I wish I had done. I wish I had done more of those.
Here's something for you. I remember, obviously, you've echoed about the concerns of social media and how AI is very similar in how people are approaching AI of it's cheating, it's this, it's going to impact these areas and
they're
everything.
Cheat
and social,
whatever.
Yeah, they are. And you had a similar opinion when it came to social media, that everybody's still having this issue of social media, but we need to embrace it.
We love to have issues with things, but we don't like to be part of the solution.
Yeah, but you were always looking at how can we actually turn this around and make it part of the solution.
Yeah.
Is what you were always communicated and advocated for.
I still do.
And I'm curious, back during the social media boom, in a sense, did you have this level of integration like we're having with AI, where you have, obviously, in the US, they're advocating for AI training.
No.
You've got this week in Africa. I know that even Europe's doing the same thing. Dubai's or the UAE is even stating that it has to be in schools.
I think it's panic. I think for some people it's panic because I think they don't want to be left behind in this AI world that we are now living in. I think for others it's innovation. I mean, think about the motive for people doing things. A lot of times, I don't even know where this is coming from. Rick will tell you sometimes I just start having downloads of things, so they'll just start coming out. But the only reason, back to the transactional, transformational, and the professor story, people don't usually change unless they are panicked and forced to. Or unless they are having a really innovative moment and they are led to by something bigger than them, right?
It's because of the technology side of things. I mean, if we look at how advanced AI has come in such a short time frame, and it's going to go beyond. We're going to look 10 years down the line and think, wow, we were using AI in that way? That is like so ancient. You do it with video games. It looks...
Yeah.
Looking at the very first Super Mario Brothers, and you're like, wow, okay, now you've got this level of open world 3D and everything.
Don't you think, though, so I've seen this in education, I talk about it a lot, the pendulum will always swing far to one side and then far to the other, and I think that is what we're seeing. I think, with social media, I feel like there was just a lot of panic. I do believe that there were teachers that were utilizing social media for their own learning so that they could leverage their classroom into these incredible learning spaces. So, but I think social media being used by students has never caught on in a way that AI does. And I think it's because the world knows, I don't know, what do we actually
Does it
know?
Really know?
But that's what I'm
saying.
Thinking. But that it's a prediction. I think all of these things are predictions for what's going to be important. And we talked about it with Fonz before. I worry that we are too far into. Are we going to get too far into it that we can't find a balance? I think balance is so important. I love this idea.
We will find a balance. This is how I foresee things kind of playing out, because we didn't have this kind of thing in schools when it came to the internet, but we did have it with businesses. The internet bubble of 2000s. And if you go and look back in history and everything, when we had the internet bubble, it was a bubble that grew and grew and popped. And it came crashing down. Yeah. But we now have a balance.
Yeah. That's true.
We needed that. And that's, I've seen him, even entrepreneurs have been saying that we are in an AI bubble. How big is it going to get? I don't know. When is it going to pop? I have no idea. But because of it, you are going to see a shift in the companies that are using it,
Agree.
the people that are using it, and you'll start to see a balance. Because right now, there is too much in the bucket, essentially.
Don't you think it's
and
like
it's
kind of a
way too
knee-jerk
heavy.
reaction, though? Like, oh, everybody's
Absolutely,
doing
it
it,
is.
now I have to do it.
Yes, it is. And it is very similar to the AI aspect of everybody jumped on, the internet aspect, where everybody jumped on the internet. Everybody was like, oh, we need to be on the internet. We need to have this. We need to have the other. Everybody was creating a website or having a domain
Well,
or
then it makes
whatever it
people
was.
feel like they're behind. So
It
when
does.
everybody's doing something, so like for me, I've talked about this, but I am sometimes quiet about AI. I'm observing. I like to watch what's happening. I like to take in the information and then formulate my own opinion and learn in my own way. So,
Everybody's
everybody
sorry.
learns different. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Everybody is jumping on it or expecting other people to do things with AI
We
for
cannot
their
expect
own.
everybody to do things the way we would do them. We cannot expect everyone to be at the same pace we are. We talked about it with Fonz. It still is a very hot topic, and as you're bringing it up, I'm realizing
100%.
how passionate I am about it. Like,
Yeah.
just because I'm not talking about AI every day, and just because we didn't put AI in this book for every chapter does not mean that AI is not important to me.
No.
It does not mean that I am not studying AI. It does not mean that I am not using my coding background for AI. And it also doesn't mean that I don't believe in the importance of AI to prepare students for the future. But I also know that there needs to be balance with some of the other things that we've discussed. And if you go back and look and listen truly to any of the other episodes that we have produced and recorded and put out, every one of those voices is talking about the importance of student success. Yes, with AI, but it isn't just AI. There's so much to that. And it goes back to what we said with the first article of professors. You know what? AI, it absolutely has the power to make everything we do transactional. And I'm just so sorry. I'm not going to go all into that. I'm too much of who I am. I'm too neurodivergent. I like thinking of transformation and innovation, and AI may help me do that, may assist me to do that. But it's not going to I don't want it to take over my thinking. I do not want to lose.
It's not going to replace everything.
The critical thinking.
Here's an actual study that Harvard apparently have recently done. I only briefly read on it, so
You're going to add it to the show notes.
I'm going to add it to the show
like
notes. I'm just going to discover it again. But apparently, it is proven that 60% of people that are using AI, they have found a decrease in brain development because they've been using AI.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I think, so here's the thing, and the question is, how do we teach? Because you and I do have a coding background. Like, I can sit down and write a script.
Critical thinking.
It's the critical thinking.
If we think that the AI is literally just that I type a prompt in, I get an answer, that's what I'm going to take. No, critical thinking
if you're doing
has to be implemented in everything you do. I use AI. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not using AI. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be one of those advocates.
That's the ego.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I use AI. I've used it to create images. I've used it to help with understanding things. I've helped it write an email for me because it helps. But I do not take what it gives me and say, that is 100% perfect. I take it and go, right, I need to
so we should be teaching
and manipulate how I use it.
Yes. We should be teaching students and adults how to critically think through the AI responses, because you're right. If we are just I have this phrase, Rick knows this if you're listening. You may not know this now, you know this about me, but it is with anything that someone says to me, anything that I am given, I have a choice to receive that or not. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, since the ChatGPT gave me this, I'm receiving it full on and I'm going to utilize it. Yeah, it takes a lot of that critical thinking skill out. Now, one of the things I do is I find myself checking myself often when I use ChatGPT, even if it is for an email. This doesn't sound like me. I need to look at what this email says, and then I need to make it sound like how I would say it. Or maybe like I use ChatGPT to pull, we're about to do a little game here. I did use ChatGPT for that. The thing is, I'm able to go through and vet what it is telling me. I have the background of research, like knowing how to research things and knowing how to compare what I know based on what I'm seeing, based on the world around me. And I think that is difficult to teach.
I'm probably going to say something now that probably might tick a few people off.
Okay.
If you think all these people that are doing courses and presentations and all these kind of things on AI, that we need to be careful how we use it and what we need to look at, it is no different to when the internet got introduced. Because when we took things from the internet, and I did this when I was a student, when I was learning about it, you take it as solid gold that is right, and you don't critically think. And then you learn to actually, I need to do further investigation to understand what I'm consuming, what I'm taking from online. And it's the same with social media,
information
with
literacy.
fake news and all this kind of stuff. There's fake information being provided. Yeah, it's information literacy, and we have to do the same thing with AI and whatever the next thing is going to be. If people are going through and saying, we're going to teach you about AI and the power of AI and the importance of doing these things with AI, it is no different to anything else we've had in the past. If you think it's different, get your head out your backside and actually look at everything that's gone on for the last 20 years.
You're absolutely right. It's the core skills that we need to teach our students are source verification. I just said it to you. Like, if we're going to talk about an article, let's go find the article for our listeners and our viewers. Let them make their decision and not just take what we're saying on this podcast as gold. Have you heard the phrase, Rick, take that with a grain of salt?
Yes.
Have you heard that?
Or
that's
take
essentially,
it with a pinch of salt is what we...
Well, I'm only taking a grain. You see the difference in my mindset. You're taking a pinch. I'm taking a little tiny granule.
You're taking less than I am.
That's it. Exactly. I think, how do we know the things that ChatGPT are saying is true? And it's also looking at like bias and hallucination awareness, which is something that we haven't really talked about.
Absolutely.
But bias in the data, if my ChatGPT talks to your ChatGPT, and we ask them the same question. Let's do that. Actually, live on this podcast. Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's ask, what question can we ask?
Because at the same time, it's going to know what I like and what
100%.
You like as well.
So let's
it's going to
ask
be
a very
to that.
basic question. What can we ask?
What did you eat for lunch today?
Are you asking me, or you want me to ask? Maybe we should ask ChatGPT.
I'm just going
what should I eat for lunch today? Let's ask that. What should I eat for lunch today?
Very poor prompt.
So this is a poor prompt. This is not a well thought out prompt.
Nope.
Absolutely. So what you put in is what you're going to get out. What you put in your body is what you're going to get. You see how it all correlates. And this is very transactional. So I want you to know, Rick, that my ChatGPT made my answer ADHD friendly. Did it do that for you?
No, it didn't. It gave me a very generic kind of answer.
Is it a paragraph?
It's a load of bullet points.
Okay. Did it give you options or just tons of bullets?
It gave me options with bullet points.
How many options?
So 3 options with three different
I have 3, yes.
options inside
Did it give
each.
did it give you a pro tip?
No.
I have a pro tip with mine. I'll tell you why I have that in a minute. You see how I have told ChatGPT certain things that Rick hasn't said. Okay, so I'm going to read my answers, and then we're going to compare my answers with your answers. So ChatGPT tells me we're going to make this super ADHD friendly and nourishing for you. Here's what you need. You need energy because you've been busy. You need nutrient density to stay sharp and support healing, and you need low effort so that you don't feel overwhelmed. What did yours give you a little intro?
Mine said, here are a few quick ideas based on how you might be feeling or what you're craving.
So it
Pick
doesn't
your mood.
actually, yeah, there you go. Okay,
It
so my,
doesn't know anything about me when it comes to these kind of areas, which I know you've spoken previously, because obviously it does the
because
whole history
because I asked
research.
ChatGPT, help me meal prep. I've
Yeah,
asked
I haven't done that.
ChatGPT, I need more protein. What can I eat? So it's remembering all of those things. It also knows that I have ADHD, so it is giving me an output that I can easily take in the information rather than a whole paragraph. Okay, so what is your option one?
So I have light and energizing. So grilled chicken salad.
That's your
Hum.
option one?
Well, I've got 3 options under light and energizing.
Oh, that's interesting because, okay, does yours have emojis?
Yes, it
Okay, so
does.
there's the
Next to each one.
giveaway. ChatGPT loves to use emojis, and do you know what? That just makes me angry because I was using emojis long before ChatGPT came along in my Google Classroom with my students. And now if I use emojis, people think, oh, Tisha's just using ChatGPT. No, I'm not. Oh my gosh, so annoying. Okay, so sorry. my
You know when I've used ChatGPT because it comes up with American spelling.
I know. Okay, so option one. My option one says Power Bowl in 5 minutes. You see how specific mine is? Okay, mine says pre-cooked quinoa, brown rice, or mixed greens. That's my base. And then I can add on protein, chicken, tuna, or boiled eggs. Then I need to add veggies, cucumber, tomato, avocado, or carrots. And then extras, I can do feta or goat cheese, olives, nuts, seeds. And then a dressing would be like olive oil, lemon, and a dash of like salt. What does yours say?
So obviously I mentioned that we have grilled chicken salad with avocado, cherry tomatoes, and citrus vinaigrette. Thank you.
Clearly, it thinks you are about to chef yourself up for lunch.
Yeah, I mean, for starters, I will not eat a grilled chicken salad. So it's a
Why not?
great. You know I don't like salads.
I know that, but the listeners didn't know that.
Yeah, ChatGPT and the listeners did not know that. But it's given me like hummus and veggie wrap.
Are those things you like?
Poke bowl. No.
Do you want to hear my second option? Because this is funny.
Yeah,
No sad desk sandwich.
No sad desk sandwich.
I don't know. Whole grain or sourdough, and then inside turkey, chicken, or hummus, spinach, cucumber, tomato, Dijon mustard or pesto with some greens, and you can pair that with the berries and a handful of almonds.
Okay. Different.
What's next for you?
We then go into comforting and filling options. Pasta with pesto or marinara. Maybe with grilled veggies or meatballs.
It was
interesting. Sounds good to me.
On your options, it doesn't give you a source. It has not cited a source where it has gotten these pieces of information.
No,
either.
Usually when if I ask for anything like this or just general information, I usually have to state afterwards, please can you give me the sources
cite the source.
So that I can actually go and investigate it further.
But as an engineer and a coder, we know that you could actually go in and tell it to always give you a source for those things.
Absolutely, which is what I do for certain projects. No, that's the thing. When we go into these things, there's so little. It's the same with the internet. It's just, search for what you want. Before we obviously had the likes of Google and stuff. There's news articles, static pages, all created by individual people, and you went and discovered them via the URL. Then you had Google, and it's like, just search for anything. What is it you want? Yeah. And you just type it in, and it gives you a load of links. Obviously, it's progressed and made better, but you obviously had the high-paid sites got to the top, or people that knew what they were doing with SEO got to the very top.
Same thing. I mean, everything
and all this
is
kind of stuff.
Yeah. Because now I pay for ChatGPT, which kind of annoys me.
Same.
It annoys me that I do, but I also utilize it for lots of things, and I use projects, and I use it to organize things. And in a sense, it has sort of become like my portfolio, right?
It's become better than Google for finding and understanding
it's
information.
Individualizing. Information.
It is, which Google does not do in any shape or form. My only issue with it is, again, we've gone and put the exact same question in,
Yeah.
And depending on what you've typed before and
Yep.
what it understands about you, you are going to get tailored information, which
100%.
could be very either discriminating, or it might be
Sure.
very politically sided to one way. It's not going to give a very broad answer
Yeah.
as it starts to understand more and more about you.
Well, it's like you said, we were talking about information literacy. That's prompt literacy. I was talking to Jace the other day, and I was like, knowing how to type a prompt into ChatGPT is literally a skill and an art. And
Mhm.
I am so thankful that I have a coding background, because I understand. I learned in college how to type things out. Like when you type it out in a a script or something, the computer is going to give you exactly what you say. So if you don't
Yes,
say the thing, it's not giving you the thing. And so you have to
exactly.
know exactly what you want, and you have to know exactly how to communicate it so that it will give you
And you
that.
make one small mistake in that script, you are going
100%.
to get complete incorrect information.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if you do not look into it, there is a possibility you are not going to realize you have a mistake in your
Well,
results.
then there's the ethical use of the tool. So how many
Mm-hmm.
people are sharing that they've used ChatGPT
Oh, no one.
in any capacity
There,
on any
yeah,
of their
if there is,
things?
it is a small percentage, I will
Do you know
guarantee.
what's
Apart from the
interesting
likes of
though?
like Instagram and stuff are trying to detect when someone's used AI to create a
Yeah.
photo or a video. It
It's
is
getting scary
good.
though, Rick, because like the other day, some of the photos I saw looked so real, and they
Mm,
were AI generated. And I thought, not only do we have to have information literacy, prompt literacy, bias awareness with AI, but now we have to be able to find ways to detect when an image is AI generated versus reality. There is so much, Spider-Man, my favorite movie,
hmm.
says great power comes great responsibility. And AI puts a lot of power in a lot of people's hands, and I'm not
It
sure
does.
everybody is using it responsibly.
No.
Um, I don't know. I think having a thinking partner, kind of
Well,
like we just did, is a really great model for people. So I'm going to suggest that if you don't have a thought partner, get a thought partner and go through some of these AI prompts so that you can use AI as a thinking partner, but it's not a shortcut, and it's definitely
no,
not doing
no.
the work for you.
I
Remember,
don't. I hate when people are. It's like, oh, we're cutting down teacher burnout. Yeah, sure you are.
well,
You're eliminating the key things that teachers need to be teaching the students, which is understanding the information they're receiving. So you're not,
but they're
yes, you
putting
might be
you're
putting a
right.
little bit of
They're
work
putting the
down, but you're
responsible
not
on
really.
the teachers are ultimately going to be the ones responsible for teaching this. You're absolutely right. It's just like in our past episode with Stacy, the leaders will go to a teacher and be like, "This is the goal we want to get to. We need you to do this thing," and they then have to figure it out. It is a lot of responsibility on the teacher. So I think,
Yeah,
it's not to criticize anybody who's out there talking about AI. I mean, we have some really good friends who are speaking on AI.
we
Rochelle,
do. We do.
Danae,
Yeah.
I love her. She's a great person to talk about AI with. You have lots of people out there talking AI. You have lots of sessions. Go to those sessions and take your salt shaker with you.
Mm-hmm.
Only take
My,
one grain from the session and pull all of that information
yeah.
together and make an informed decision.
My,
It's also like
my,
voting.
yeah. My whole point of it is that if everybody's jumping on this AI bandwagon, and the people that are doing courses or sessions or webinars or anything on AI, hats off to you for jumping onto that. The people that are not fully aware of it, that are
What if you don't
going
trust
into
some of those
everything,
people?
yeah, but what I'm saying is there is nothing different with an AI session of how to use AI correctly as there is to use social media correctly, use the internet
Well, okay,
correctly.
but what I'm
It's just
saying
a
is
different tool. It's like
you
being given a hammer and
I
a
agree.
screwdriver.
But here's what I'm saying with the trust aspect. If okay, so I trust Rochelle.
Yeah.
I've known Rochelle. I've
Hmm.
followed Rochelle's work. I've talked to Rochelle. I've had a conversation with her. Um I would listen to what she's saying with AI. So I think building rapport and trust with the people who are creating the courses. Find, like I've always said this to people, and this is maybe not new, and now I'm kind of giving away some of my consulting for free, which is fine if you're listening, because if you've gotten this far, it means you're really all in. But one of the things I do is I create a rubric. I do it in my head. This is definitely a neurodivergent thing, but I create a rubric for if I am going to take a job. I create a rubric for friendships. I create a rubric in my head for everything that I allow and receive into my life. And it is the exact same thing with the people that I am learning from. There is a rubric that I have in my head, and you want to listen to the people that you trust. So I guess, I'm not going to criticize anybody who's taking advantage of creating courses, and writing books. Do that. Make sure that you're building trust with your readers and followers in other aspects as well. You know what I mean? Like, I could go say anything right now. This is one of the reasons that I wanted to write this book that we've written together, Today's Learners, Tomorrow's Leaders, because one, not only did we have the actual research that you and I were doing, but we also had the qualitative research of my experience in the classroom, what I experienced, what Stacey White experienced, and teachers like her. We were leaning on that. I wasn't just going to put a book out and say, do all of these things just because I said to do it. I wanted there to be research behind it. And I wanted everybody to know that I worked my ass off, and I'm not afraid to say that in this podcast, to ensure that there was research behind it and that I was going to bring all of that together. Because who am I to say you should go create your classroom and make leaders out of your learners? Okay, well, anybody can say anything. But people are going to listen if it's something you actually successfully did. And so I knew that. And I was very adamant about that. And I think we have to be that way with AI as well.
I completely agree with you. Completely agree.
You've got me on my soapbox again, Rick.
I know,
we
because
have to do something fun.
You've also did that to me when I was like, I love using AI and everything. I just love the fact that we as people, in anything we look at, we go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. Make it out to be completely new when the foundation is exactly the same. And I think who was it we had on the podcast that basically said that the foundation is never going to change, and we have to be teaching the students about the foundational levels. I can't remember if it was Fonz or if it was Tisha. Was it Tisha Richmond? That
could have been Tisha Richmond. I feel like our guests have had very similar answers. Similar. And this is the other reason we wanted to do this podcast. You know what? Rick and I can write a book and we can stand up and do a presentation.
And we can talk forever.
But when you're hearing that from multiple educators over the course of time, and we don't prep them before, that's the thing. No. We tell them it's going to be conversation. We're not prompting them to say the things that they are saying. So I do think there's something to that. Well, I want to do something fun before, because this is the Play of 3 podcast,
it
Rick,
is.
and we got real serious.
We did, but also, hold on. We also, I know I said hold on as well.
You did.
But the one thing I do love about these episodes, when it's just you and I, we always start off very light and fun and everything. Like the last one was popcorn, which is still a very, very hot take for us. And I know Amanda went and said she is a salt and sweet mix. Yeah. So, but then you know what? I can't even remember how we started this conversation before we got into the conversation.
I do.
Oh, we were talking about your salmon, was it?
We were talking about my salmon. We were talking about us matching shirts.
Yeah.
And then I was sharing. I know, I was sharing some articles with you. Now I have. So this is our 9th episode officially.
Okay. Officially 9th, yep. We are one away from, congratulations to you.
You know
We're
what?
now 9 episodes in.
I'm going to argue with you. 9 is better than 10. I'm going to tell you why. I know you're going to say, Tisha, we should celebrate the 10th episode. And I'm
what about
the
11th?
Whatever. I do love. I do.
11
I think
my
the 11.
Number.
I do like 11. 11 is an angel number. But the power of 9 symbolizes the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. It signifies and embodies global consciousness. I am using ChatGPT, but I'm also entering in some of my own thoughts here. Okay. the number 9 is like definitely new beginnings, but the ending of a season. I think this is very symbolic. I think we are hitting a flow that you and I did not have in the beginning. We were unsure of kind of how this podcast would go.
Yep.
Did you know, and let's just enter some math and education into it, any number multiplied by 9 returns to a 9.
Yes,
right?
that is true. Yep. 8,
9 times
8,
5 is
9.
45, and 4 plus 5 is 9. I love numbers like that. Oh, it just makes me happy. What else? So I think in that regard, if you were listening, I want you to be thinking, what have you outgrown as a teacher that you have still been holding on to? And what are you going to let go for the new year? What is something that you're ready to innovate? What is something that you are ready to let go of doing in a transactional format rather than a transformational format? So that is just a little something for our guests. Now we're going to do the fun part. The fun part is a game. And this game is called Acronym and Anthem Showdown. It's rapid fire. And yes, ChatGPT did help me, but I gave it some really great, thoughtful prompts to get here. Okay. So we got
intrigued.
two categories, Rick. Two categories. We had the first category is ed acronyms. Educational acronyms. And if you were an educator, you know how hilarious this is. But also, if you work in corporate, you probably also know how funny that is. Everybody loves to make an acronym out of everything.
Yes, everybody does.
Then retro replay. You're gonna guess the movie, the song, or the artist based on my short clue for you.
Ooh.
And we can take turns. I mean, there's not any.
Yeah, I'm very good when it comes to movie theme. Tunes.
Well,
if you were to play a movie theme tune, there is a high probability I will get it.
If you're wrong, you have to sing a line of. No, I'm just kidding. Did you know? I think you were a singer, right? You were in like choir or something.
Yeah, I did do some choir stuff.
Did you know I was a choir president?
I was a choir leader.
That's so interesting that we have that in common. Did you also know that I'm not the best singer in the world?
Yes, I did.
That's so sad that you just said that publicly so confidently. I'm not the best singer, but I was the choir president, and I guess it goes back to, I guess it wasn't the beginning of my political career. I don't know about that. Okay, well, here we go. Ed acronym round. You're going to guess what these stand for. I think that you are going to find some of them are very familiar, especially after all the work that we've done in our book. So we're just going to start really with an easy one. PBL.
Professional.
Oh my God. This is not good. PBL.
Project-based learning.
Thank you. Okay. SAMR.
Spell it.
It's an acronym. SAMR. And I used to talk about it all.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Sorry, I thought you said stammer, which SAMR.
It's a hard one.
Oh, crumbs. Yeah, I can pick the amount of times you've said that too. Well, you've written it out.
I've also said TPAC. SAMR and TPAC are two that I've used, and they are very much in the same little category. Do you know TPAC?
Again, it's this acronym that I've seen, and I cannot think what they actually reference.
So SAMR, substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. And TPAC is technological, pedagogical, content knowledge. Both of those are technology integration frameworks. So some schools require teachers to use SAMR. Some schools require TPAC. SAMR is not research-based. TPAC is. There's a whole bunch of other ones. Okay, well, this one better be easy for you. LMS.
Oh, that's so... I've never heard of LMS. I'm not learning management system.
Okay, good. SEL. You should know this. We wrote about it.
No.
SEL, social, emotional
learning.
What about FERPA?
I never knew the acronym for FERPA and COPPA.
But you do know it. FERPA is Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act.
Okay.
Okay. What about PLC?
Public Limited Company.
Oh my gosh. We write about it in chapter 9.
PLC means Public Limited Company as well.
In education, in education, it means professional learning community. Rick. Okay, then you have IEP. Now, I always say that I should have had an IEP when I was in school for my ADHD. And then my cousin, who is a special education teacher and English teacher, once came over and watched me pack for TCA. And he was like, I would have had you on an IEP immediately. Which, I mean, he's my cousin, so he can say what he wants. But, I mean, IEP, what do you think it stands for?
IEP.
You can't look it up. No,
I'm not looking it up. I'm not looking it up.
I see you.
I'm not looking it up.
Individualized education plan.
Educational plan. Okay. Individualized.
Then you have
MTSS
and you have RTI. I'm not even going to. Don't even. I'm not expecting you to know those. I will tell you. The viewers know if they're listening. MTSS is multi-tiered system of supports, and RTI is response to intervention. Those are ways to support students. Now we have our retro replay round. Guess the movie, song, or artist from
I'd be very interested.
Clue.
Before we end up going into that retro rewind area, I wonder how many parents actually know those acronyms.
Well, if a lot of parents would know the IEP if they have a student who has an IEP.
If they have a
so yeah, I'm not sure that. But think about it. I mean, even, at Wakelet, we had certain, acronyms for things, and Smart has certain acronyms for things, and aviation. It just depends on the field that you're in. Okay, so here's the fun part.
Go for it.
I want one of those cool things, Rick. I'm going to buy one where I can press the buttons and it'll play the music. I'm going to order myself one. I just forgot what it was called.
A piano.
No, I have. No, it's a podcasting tool and it's really cool. And I know
which one you mean. You mean you want something that is going to play like random.
Yes, I want the buttons. I need the buttons for my ADHD brain. I want it soon. So maybe someone will donate it to me. It's too bad this doesn't work like TikTok and people can send me gifts that turn into money so I can buy my little podcast buttons. Okay.
You just want that. Okay.
I do. Okay, ready?
Yes.
You're going to tell me either the movie, song, or the artist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Oh, that's easy. That's Dirty Dancing.
That is good. This band sang about teen spirit.
As in Smells Like Teen Spirit. Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Keanu Reeves travels through time in a phone.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I mean,
yes.
You just when you say Keanu Reeves and phone booth.
I love Keanu Reeves.
He's
Keanu
amazing.
Reeves. I think I'm going to add him to my bucket list and manifest a meeting with him because I would love to meet Keanu.
The fact that he has his own motorbike company, manufactures his own motorbikes. I'm just
he's the most
amazing.
Fascinating person, and I've heard he's very, very transformational. Okay, what about this quote? You got it, dude. Do you know what that's from? It's probably very American.
And this is a movie.
It's a TV show.
TV show.
You got it, dude.
I don't know.
The listeners are like, Rick. It's from a show called Full House.
Oh, I never watched Full House.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There's your reason. I've seen it's one I've never watched.
Okay, what's this song? She told us that girls just want. She told us what girls want. Cyndi Lauper told us what girls want. What do girls want?
Money. The annoying thing is I almost had the actual song in my head.
Have fun.
Yeah, I had the song in my head and then I said money and I just lost it.
I love this quote.
TV show or movie?
Movie.
Okay.
Life moves pretty fast.
Oh, crumbs.
Stop. Oh, it's such a good movie.
Oh, crikey. Oh, crikey. Oh, crumbs.
I mean, we can't sit here all day.
No, I know. No.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
Okay, this movie introduced us to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Purple Rain.
Prince.
Okay, so it is a movie where there's an iconic boombox love confession out of a window.
Oh, where he's standing there lifting it up. Oh, crikey. It's not Harry Met Sally.
No, it's Say Anything.
Oh, okay. I've seen that clip. I've not watched that movie.
And then You Take the Good, You Take the Bad. It's a TV show. It's a song. You take the good. Yeah, do you know what it's from? That was funny. The Facts of Life.
The Facts of Life, thank you.
Yep, that was it. You did great. I mean, you didn't get all of them, but I am very impressed with your knowledge.
I'm going to edit this now and make out that I did get 100%.
I'm not fair.
Amazing.
You don't edit any of these, and so
I know I don't. It's all going to be raw. So,
well, Rick, that is our episode for today. Is there anything that you want to tell the people before we let them go?
No. Come back and listen to us in the next episode next week.
No,
really.
Here's what I want to know.
It's less than an hour.
Yeah, but here's what I want you, if you're listening, comment. Please tell us that you're listening. Like it, share it, whatever. Listening. I mean, are Rick and I just talking to ourselves?
If we are, this is all that's fun. No, no, I agree with Tish. If there is this is on Spotify, YouTube, all that. If you've got this
TikTok.
far, yeah, well, TikTok for the little episodes.
Yeah.
But if you are listening to these full episodes, please follow. Mm-hmm. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, whatever platform you're listening on. It does help us. It helps us to know if people are listening, if people are finding this beneficial. If there's things that, even if there's things that we talk about and you don't like, tell us. Let us know why.
We want to know.
We want to keep the conversation going, because this is the thing. We're all here to learn. We've always said that, and that's what we want to. Yeah, we want to gain. And we enjoy making these podcasts, these episodes for you. They're not here for just for the sake of...
I mean, we would have had this conversation had we hit record or not. These are the conversations. It's kind of like the viewers and the listeners are getting a backstage pass to the conversations we would have while we were writing the book. Yeah. I mean, this is literally how the conversation would go. And then we would get to writing the book, or we would take a break and we would have a conversation around whatever topic we were writing about. So, and we would debate things, and there were fun things that we would talk about, like popcorn, but and we would listen to music while we were writing. Yeah. So sometimes I was listening to New Kids on the Block, which we didn't talk about this time.
You wanted to talk about New Kids on the Block.
I wanted to just say that I know New Kids on the Block, and I met them, and I was in the elevator with them all alone once.
Is Siri answering you again?
I don't know what she's doing. I think she's excited about New Kids on the Block. And maybe Rick will use the song Hanging Tough as our ending song for you today. We'll talk more about New Kids on the Block on our next episode. Yes. I'll wear my New Kids on the Block t-shirt. That's what we'll do. We'll do a retro episode.
That's a good idea. I can't wear my Muse t-shirt. It's a bit too small for me these days. It's like 20 years old. I know.
Yeah.
I was a lot skinnier then.
All right, Rick. Well, thanks for joining me on this episode of the Play It Through podcast. Everybody listening, make sure you subscribe, you share, you comment. We would love to debate you, or we would love for you to tell us what you don't like, just like Rick said. Please make sure that you follow Rick on all of his socials. I'll let you figure out how to do that in the show notes. And then make sure you're following me. I would love to interact with you over the course of time. I just want to see what great things you're doing and learn your stories and hear more about what you're doing. And if anything that we're doing resonates with you, we would love to hear about it. And if you want to join us for an episode to debate any of these topics we've talked about, let us know. We will send you an invite so that we can record an episode with you. As always, you are the consistent guest, as our listeners, and we love hanging out with you. Until next time, we'll see you again soon.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for being a part of this episode. Continue the conversation with us online. Subscribe and follow, and let us know if you'd like to join as a guest or if there's someone you'd like to hear from.
We'd love to connect with you on X, Instagram, and TikTok. All links and show notes will be available in the episode description. Until next time, keep learning, growing, and playing.